Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as once again it is looking bone dry and very warm for many regions. It's another stunning weekend with plenty of sunshine for many, and we are seeing temperatures widely in the high teens if not low 20s. There are signs though, as we have hinted at in the last few days, and a lot of the models are catching on today, and the ensembles are as well, that it really could be ramping up those temperatures over the next week or two. Especially the GEM and the ECMWF today, showing temperatures well over 25 degrees, with the ECMWF specifically reaching that 30 plus degree range. Incredibly warm conditions could be seen within the next 7 to 10 days, perhaps come next weekend. The ECMWF has 30 degrees through parts of England and Wales, all because the high pressure is slowly shifting eastwards, drawing up a southerly wind. Now, the only caveat with that, as we'll see a little bit on some of the models, but especially on the ensembles, with their precipitation spikes, you'll be able to see it is a lot higher than it has been over the past few weeks, and trending more into the mid-range, whereas all the precipitation spikes have previously stayed in the long term. And that's because that southerly flow will be more of an unstable flow. More instability, more humidity will mean there's likely to be thunderstorms around at times as well. So it really could be sort of culminating in quite a big, hot, maybe even thundery spell within the next week or two potentially. And of course we'll explore that, especially in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So you start on the live radar, once again, bone dry. You can see where the precipitation is. Once again, we look at this on most days, thunderstorms breaking out through southern Europe. Again, this is where low pressure is positioned at the moment, where the jet stream has to fork around the high pressure systems. So low pressure is up towards Iceland and low pressure down towards the Mediterranean. So some of these areas seeing a lot of rain at the moment, but of course within this thundery air mass is very warm conditions, this sort of warm, humid air over northern Europe, which has sort of baked ground at the moment, very dry conditions. We could be seeing some very hot 2-meter temperatures perhaps within the next week or two. Now, it is early in the summer, so we are not expecting anything that hot. Perhaps as high as 30 or maybe 31 or 32 is possible. Anything hotter than that, it doesn't look likely at this stage. I must put that in, just so we don't get anyone overhyping this too much. Hot, but nothing too ridiculous is on the cards here. If you look at the 2 meter temperatures as of 4 p.m, once again another warm day, especially in western regions and through parts of the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, again seeing the best temperatures around that 23 or 24 degree range. You see eastern areas are even better today. Again, cutting off that easterly flow, which means there's less cloud and dragging not as much cold air from the North Sea on shore. So most areas very warm today, still coolest on that east coast, but as I said, most areas are very warm. You see across southern Europe, very hot conditions starting to build again. A lot of these temperature deviations here are either due to elevation, like the Pyrenees and the Alps, or where thunderstorms are breaking out. You can see this really distinctly around Bordeaux, where temperatures are dropping significantly in the space of a couple of miles because of thunderstorms. So southern Europe is very warm at the moment, and with a southerly flow, this is the sort of air we could be seeing as we do head in the next sort of week or so. If you do have a look at the UKV, again, this does extend just to the start of potentially some hotter air starting to build in, or more of a southerly flow building in. So we'll be able to see glimpses of a bit more warmth, but nothing too significant. The next 5 days looks a continuation of what we've had at the moment, which is very warm and very dry conditions. Once again, we'll be able to run through the precipitation very quickly, as we're really not looking at any rainfall, any significant rainfall over the coming days at all. You can see clear sunshine throughout the rest of today, with a few patches of cloud in a few regions. As we head into Sunday, very similar. Monday, once again, very similar, perhaps a bit more cloud in the morning in eastern regions, but retreating to the coasts by the afternoon. The same into Tuesday, and the same into Wednesday too. Just note there, perhaps through Tuesday and Wednesday, a few isolated showers further northwards, but once again, we're not expecting anything major at all. A few isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms as possible, but I wouldn't I wouldn't really forecast at this stage. It's still a good few days away, so we'll just have to see how it does develop with that. But if you look at the mean sea level pressure, you can see at the moment we've got more of an easterly flow, but by day 5, you can see the wind is veering more southeasterly. Again, signs the high pressure is moving northwards and eastwards and starting to draw up warmer and hotter air from the southeast, but of course increasing instability and low pressure moving in from the southwest too. You see pressure is starting to fall here. Again, nothing too crazy, but will give the risk of thunderstorms perhaps if this spell does come off. You can see the upper air temperatures too, nothing ridiculously warm, but you can see some very hot air is lingering just to our south. The 15-degree isotherm, that would give the potential for 30 plus degrees as we do head maybe in towards next weekend. Again, we'll have to wait another few days to get the UKV temperatures for this potentially very hot air mass. If you look at the max temperatures now over the next 5 days, today widely has said high teens, low 20s, peaking at 22 to 24 degrees. Be very similar as we head into tomorrow once again, 23, 24, so maybe the top temperatures maybe slightly higher, 23 to 25 there. Again, best conditions across southern and western England and Wales and through Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Into Monday, once again a very beautiful day. England and Wales, perhaps slightly cooler in some regions, maybe a bit more cloud around, sort of very subtle winds and things like that will alter these temperatures by a couple of degrees here or there, but mostly again high teens, low 20s have had best conditions through the Republic of Ireland at 23 or 24. And finally into Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, Tuesday very similar, 23, 24, the top temperature, and into Wednesday again, maybe 25 or even 26. And that's because that very hot air mass is drifting into the southwest. You can see the southwest quadrant is starting to get very warm, if not quite hot. Remember, heat wave levels are 28 degrees and above for 3 consecutive days for London, and that slowly moves down to 25 degrees for areas further northwards. So we are starting to just about creep towards heatwave thresholds there in the southwest. Again, we need to see it more widespread, and we need to see it slightly hotter, especially as we do head further northwards and eastwards. But regardless, it is starting to hit heat wave levels. So we will just have to see as we do head on through the next few days. And when the UKV does get this in its time frame, it'll be interesting to see what sort of numbers it does get for sort of 15-degree air mass at 850 HPA moving in. I'd estimate around the high 20s or 30 degrees, but we will just have to see. So if we do now have a look at the long range, have a look at the GFS, and for once the GFS is a little bit more of a moderate run today. It still goes very warm, if not a little bit hot, but it's nowhere near as hot as the GM or even the ECM, though, yeah, for which it does go pretty warm as we do head towards the next weekend. Now, if you run through, you can see the high pressure dominating at the moment, slowly migrating further northwards and eastwards by next weekend. Low pressure approaching from the southwest, again, throwing instability our way and drawing up a southerly flow. If you look at the air mass, you can see it is quite warm, but the 15-degree isotherm from the GFS is staying further away. So it does get hot, it does get temperatures widely into the mid-20s, but not probably towards 30 degrees, and this stays all the way to 384 hours. Eventually more of an easterly flow, which cool it down slightly, but still very warm and very dry, apart from the risk, as I said, of a few thunderstorms. We can see this by looking at the Cape. You see Cape is significant perhaps as we head towards next weekend in around 7 or 8 days' time. Very significant Cape start to develop through Northern Europe. So yeah, it could be some big thunderstorms with that. Generally warm and dry, hot and dry perhaps, but big thunderstorms starting to break out there through parts of England and Wales. Again, the accumulated precipitation within sort of 24 hours or so goes from nothing to quite significant amounts in some regions as those thunderstorms start to roll in. Now, if you look at the 2 meter temperatures, just so we can see roughly what it's showing for next weekend. Again, if we go to the midday temperatures here. Actually, I think we get 3 p.m. Yeah, we get 3 p.m. temperatures here. You can see widely low to mid-20s, 25 to 27 degrees there come the 10th of June. Again, a few spots here of cooler conditions. You'd expect that's because of perhaps a few thunderstorms starting to break out. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on that nearer the time. As we head into Sunday, another very warm, if not hot day, widely 25 to 27. So GFS getting to the mid-20s. But not anything too ridiculous, and probably won't reach the heatwave thresholds in many regions. And as I said, if we just move on very slowly towards day 10, even higher, perhaps 30 degrees actually there by Monday the 12th. So underestimating the GFS perhaps with a few consecutive days of building that heat. 30 degrees, so it does look likely 30 degrees from all three main models here. Again, really only isolated in the London region, most other areas are 25 to 27, but regardless, still incredibly warm. And finally, if we head towards the 12th of June, again, look at 13th of June, again, widely mid to high 20s, 28 or 29, the peak temperature looking incredibly warm there from the GFS. If we do move over to the GM, which actually does go even hotter, especially with its upper air temperatures, the high pressure is moving to our north and our east, drawing up a very hot southerly flow. Look at that, the 15-degree isotherm gets in there come next weekend, and you see low pressure approaching, so there could be some big thunderstorms with that. Again, you look at the precipitation here, thunderstorms spiraling in from the southwest, but it's those temperatures that we're really going to be looking at here. If we run back to next Friday, look at that, widely 27 to 28 degrees in 6 days' time. Very warm, and even in 5 days' time, widely low to mid-20s here. So you can see the day after the UKV was able to get out to, really does start to ramp up those temperatures by next Friday. As I said, 27 to 28. Next Saturday, perhaps as high as 30 degrees. Again, we can't look at the 3 p.m. temperatures because of how the increments here are 6 hours from midday to 6 p.m. But the 3 p.m. temperatures most likely would be 29 or 30, seeing that it's 28 at 6 p.m. and 28 at midday. As we head towards the 11th of June, again, 27 or 28 by midday and 26, 27 by 6 p.m. again. Few spots would likely hit 30 degrees, so very warm from the GM here, up and down the country. North of Scotland, 25, 26 degrees. The south of England, 25, 26 degrees. And again, areas higher than that throughout. So it's not just an isolated hot spell in sort of East Anglia that we've seen before, or the southeast, a small hot plume. This is proper, warm, hot Mediterranean air engulfing the whole of the British Isles here. And as I said, could reach heatwave thresholds in many regions, especially if we start getting towards those high 20s. So it's looking likely from at least the main 3 models today that heatwave could definitely be on the cards from the end of this upcoming working week. Now, if you finally for the main models, have a look at the ECMWF, which is the hottest run, I'd say, today. High pressure moving up to our north and our east, drawing up a southerly flow. With low pressure approaching, thunderstorms would come with this. But very hot regardless. High pressure actually does budge back in, so it can actually cut those thunderstorms off as we head towards sort of day 8, day 9, day 10. Again, if we look at the the precipitation for this, again you can see those heavy showers and thunderstorms spiraling in the longer term, actually not getting too far inland, apart from perhaps the southwest of England, Wales, and the Republic of Ireland, simply because the high pressure budges it away. But if we do look at the 2-meter temperatures, you'll be able to see that it does get incredibly hot. Come next Friday, 24 or 25. Again, if we put in 3-hour increments, can't get that in that range, unfortunately. But again, Friday, 25, 26. As we head towards next Saturday, 26, 27. But just across the channel into parts of France, Belgium, Netherlands, 30 to 31. And come next Sunday, temperatures even higher. Widely 28 to 30 degrees, perhaps peaking slightly higher at 3 p.m. And finally into Monday, again, widely 28 to 29 degrees through southern England. Again, isolated spots will be even hotter than that. So Eastern WF, incredibly warm, incredibly hot today. 3 rain runs, all very warm, very hot, all showing temperatures in the mid-20s at least, and most of them are peaking at 30 degrees at some point next weekend. So yeah, very, very interesting seeing this. Definitely has ramped up in the last 24 hours, been seeing hints of this, but yes, it really ramped up in consistency and these temperatures in the last 24 hours or so. If you finish by looking at the ensembles, this is the greatest evidence that there definitely is being a proper shift now towards potentially hot or heat wave like conditions. You see the upper air temperatures there on an upwards trend over the next 7 days. By next weekend, widely 10 to maybe as high as 15 degrees at 850 HPA. The threshold for widespread 30 degrees would be 15 degrees, but I still think it would be achievable around 13 or 14. So you can see only really maybe a third of runs have the potential for 30 degrees, but regardless if it's 10 degrees, it's still mid-20s. So still very warm, potentially heat wave conditions. But as I said, the precipitation definitely has picked up a lot. as we do into the short term, precipitation appearing now as soon as sort of 7 or 8 days time. Again, still in a fair range out, so it can still change, but definitely look at the setup for this hotter air. It is likely to be more of an unstable flow, so we are likely to see some showers and thunderstorms, especially in the south and the west. Again, 2 meter temperatures associated with this. Again, very hot, so you can see a big peak now appearing come next weekend, at the start of next week, with many runs towards the mid-20s, or even as seen there from some of the operational run here, reaching 30 degrees. And remember, very important when we're looking at this, especially when we're looking at some very hot air, when the temperatures do peak at 3 or 4 p.m, these ensembles are showing the temperatures at midday and 6 p.m, not at 3 p.m. So we aren't seeing the peak of the temperatures. These are just what it's showing come lunchtime and come early evening. So afternoon temperatures will be even hotter than this for all ensemble members. And if we finish by just looking at the ECMWF, even more consistency, with more runs getting towards that 15 degree range. The operational run even getting to 16 degrees, incredibly hot, a good 10 plus degrees above average, and the precipitation is fairly minimal compared to the GFS. Still precipitation spikes, but considering there's 50 ensemble members, there isn't as much signs here of thundery weather, so perhaps this would be even hotter and even drier sort of pattern, and all ensemble members are above average, with a few dipping below average come sort of 15th to 20th of June, but again, that's sort of irrelevant at the moment. That's so far into the future. So yeah, all the runs today looking hot, some of them even hitting heatwave thresholds, and you see the ensembles here widely mid-20s into the high 20s, and maybe even touching 30 degrees. So yeah, very warm, looking very hot. So if you are enjoying the warm and dry weather at the moment, do make sure you make the best of it, because it could start to get a little bit oppressive as we do head towards next weekend. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you stay safe up there, stay hydrated, all the things that are important when it does get hot. And I'll see you again for another video soon.